What? Welcome to That's Good Sports Week 17 NFC regular season finale shit show. As a Denver Broncos fan, I can say this season was long and weird. And as an NFL fan, I think I can say the same thing. There are 8 starting caliber quarterbacks on IR right now. 9 if you outsiders count Trevor Siemian, which is higher than the win totals for half of the teams in the league right now. The catch rule makes less and less sense the more former referees try and explain it. P. Diddy, along with Colin Kaepernick, may own the Panthers next year. If you don't think we are living in football hell, you're already fucking dead. Now let's break down this final week, sorta, of NFL football. The last games of 2017, a year most are ready to forget, especially those dummies who sold their Bitcoin way too early. This episode is sponsored by BetDSi.com. There is a link in the description. Use my promo code GOOD25 and BetDSi, one of the best sports books out there, is giving you $25 free to wager however you want. You can bet on any game, any sport. BetDSi is simply giving you $25 free to try to turn into more dollars for you to put in your pocket through sports betting. Is there risk? Of course there is. But if you're savvy, maybe you turn free money into more money. All right, this is the NFC video, right? The NFC playoff picture is pretty simple. The Eagles, Vikings, Panthers, Rams, and Saints are all in. If the Falcons win, they are in. If the Falcons lose and the Seahawks win, then the Seahawks get that final wild card spot. If they both lose, well, it's because they suck and will lose in the first round anyway. Other than that, the NFC is set, except for the fact that with wins or losses, any of these current teams who have clinched could shuffle in the seeding a bit. Minus the Seahawks and Falcons, I think the NFC is very strong and could see any of these teams making it all the way to the Super Bowl. And yes, that even includes the Philadelphia Eagles. If their defense returns to early season form. They allowed the Raiders to rush for like 140 yards on them and have done very little to help out Nick Foles in his few starts. I mention them because if the Philly defense gets hot, they could still be the best team in the NFC. Not by much anymore. The 11-4 Panthers are at the 9-6 Falcons, and Atlanta is actually favored by 4. I believe the Panthers will get the win though here. Atlanta is having problems protecting Matt Ryan, and when he's not protected, he gets inconsistent. Carolina has been pretty good these last 3 weeks, minus their near loss to Tampa Bay. It appears as though Carolina will play their starters this weekend, and for whatever reason, I believe Seattle will be in the playoffs, so I'm taking Carolina to win. I'm also taking the Saints to win, who are 6.5-point favorites over the Bucs in their final game. That may sound a bit crazy since the Falcons are really the only NFC team with a lot to play for this weekend. But when I watch Atlanta, even when they win, they just don't feel like a playoff caliber team this year. They've had some hot streaks, a lot of cold streaks, and they're really just lukewarm. But with all of the mostly irrelevant seeding, I just want the playoffs to start. I don't really care about these fucking games this weekend. All I see are chances for great players to get hurt, who will affect their teams by not being on the field during the wild card round. So I like the Rams approach by resting their key players, which leads us to the 5-10 Jimmy Garoppolo's at the 11-4 Todd Gurley's, except Gurley will be sitting. On the road, the Niners are 3.5-point favorites. Jimmy G is for real. He's completed at least 70% of his passes in 3 of his 4 starts for the Niners, and he did that against the Jags, who not only have arguably the best defense in football, but maybe the best secondary as well. Since Goff, Gurley, and Aaron Donald will not be playing, what we should be watching to see is if Jimmy G can finish that game completing 80% of his passes. That's what I'm rooting for, 80% passer rating for Jimmy G. Just to make the Patriots feel like they really fucked up. You stupid Patriots are about to crumble to the bottom. I can smell it. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, Maybe not even the year after, but the year after that, I guarantee the Patriots will suck. Then we have the somehow 7-8 Arizona Cardinals at the 9-6 Seahawks, and Seattle is heavily favored by 9 points. I'll just say this, the fact that the Cardinals have won 7 games this season despite losing David Johnson and Carson Palmer and having to start Blaine Gabbert and Drew Stanton makes me believe Bruce Arians should be the winner for NFL Coach of the Year. Arizona is fresh off a 23-0 shutout of the Giants. Tying the Cards with the Broncos is the only 2 teams this season to be shut out and to deliver a shutout. Congratulations, guys. Can Arizona beat the Seahawks? Yes. Will they? No. If they do, it's because Arizona has officially moved Deion Buchanan to the money linebacker position. You've got outside linebacker, middle linebacker, inside linebacker, Sam linebacker, weak linebacker, but I've never seen dollar sign linebacker. That must mean Buchanan is about to get paid, or he owes the Cardinals a lot of money and this is just their way of reminding him. Hey, Deion, you remember that money you borrowed from us for pectoral implants? Yeah, we're gonna need that back. See that dollar sign before linebacker? That means you owe us fucking money. Last week, Seattle beat an average Cowboys team, even though they had nearly as many penalty yards as they did offensive yards. The Seahawks' run game is shit, their defense is banged up, but they play well against average teams. And the Cardinals at 7-8 are the definition of an average team. I'd love nothing more than to see the desert birds pound the seabirds and confirm that Seattle has no business being in the playoffs, but what I want and what I get are never the same. Seattle wins, but I bet it's closer than 9 points. So I would not take the 9-point spread. Philly could use a win over Dallas, who has nothing to play for, in order for the Eagles to keep their number 1 seed, which without Carson Wentz, I think is a big deal for the Eagles to have. Minnesota plays the Bears, who by the way have beat every team in the NFC North on the season. The Chicago Bears have defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Carolina Panthers. 3 playoff teams. 3 of their wins came against teams who could very well be in the Super Bowl, and Minnesota only beat them by 3 in their first meeting. The Vikings are on a roll and need to win to solidify their first round bye. Currently, Minnesota is set as 11-point favorites over the Bears. I think that's a risky bet to take. I believe the Vikings will win, but Chicago, I believe, will keep it close. Take Chicago with the points if you're betting. If you're just picking on who's going to win the game, the Vikings, in Case Keenum, the world's new #1 women's biggest wet dream. This episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. There's a link in the description. Use my promo code ThatsGood and you're going to get $20 off your first SeatGeek ticket purchase. You can get playoff tickets, any of the playoff games. I can save you $20 with the promo code ThatsGood. I like SeatGeek because they rank all of their ticket prices so you know what kind of deal you're getting. You can preview your seat before you buy it. And I don't know, do you not want to save $20 on your tickets? Do you want to be a fucking idiot and spend more money? Then go ahead. Don't use my promo code at SeatGeek. Reverse psychology. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports here on YouTube. Please subscribe to this channel. I really need subscribers because it's how I value myself. If you're on Facebook, share these videos. That's a big help. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna if you want to talk football, especially during the games. I'm watching them. If you want to chat it up, let's chat it.